Hi, welcome to the Memoneet. This is Rethik, your biology SME. In the last video, we actually had a discussion regarding what fertilization and implantation, right? So, where we actually studied or discussed regarding what exactly the fertilization is, and the procedure of fertilization was also being discussed. Then we also gone through like sex, identification, and initially during the development itself, how the sex of an individual is being, you know, decided. So that is what we have studied and we got to know. And the another thing is regarding the initial development of the blastocyst, right? So these all things were being developed and how they have been attached and where it has been attached. So how the fusion, where exactly the fusion of the sperm and ovum happens, everything was been detailedly studied, and we even discussed some of the questions which were being asked in the previous NEET exams. So today also we'll be discussing about the pregnancy and embryonic development. So where what exactly the pregnancy is and what are the hormones uh, which plays a very important role during our pregnancy, and later on the embryonic development, and the same thing we will be discussing the important questions which were been asked in the previous exam. So that's why I want you to watch the video till the end, so that I don't want you guys to skip the video. Fine. Okay. What do you mean by pregnancy basically? Um, it's actually the where if a the fusion of both male and female gametes, right? So which leads to the formation of zygote, and ultimately when that has been implanted, right? So that will leads to what pregnancy. So after implantation, what happens is a finger-like projection. Okay. Uh, Yes. So after the implantation, what happens? As you can see, a finger-like projection. So that appears on the tropoblast. We already got to know what exactly the tropoblast is, right? So a finger-like projection that appears on where? It normally appears on the tropoblast. And we normally call them as chorionic villi, right? So we normally call it as chorionic villi. So where exactly it is surrounded? This chorionic villi has been surrounded by the uterine tissues and maternal blood. So it is surrounded by the uterine tissues and maternal blood. Clear with you? So what happens? This chorionic villi as well as this uterine tissues and the maternal. So okay, these uterine tissues, right? They integrated with each other. That means they coordinate with each other, and they jointly form a structural and functional unit between the developing embryo, that is nothing but the fetus, and the maternal body. So we normally call them as the placenta. So here placenta is very important. Okay. So what is very important? The placenta is very important. Why placenta? Because it acts as a joint canal or a bridge between the fetus as well as the maternal, that is mother, embryo as well as the mother. So in what way I'll say you. So now we need to understand this, the chronic villi and the uterine tissue, they both become integrated with each other, or they coordinate with each other, and jointly they form a structural and functional unit between the developing embryo, that is the fetus, and the maternal body, which is mother. So which we normally call it as placenta. So now what happens is why placenta is very important, because the placenta, it acts as an endocrine tissue and produce several hormones. Okay. So these placenta, it normally acts as some endocrine tissue, and it also produces several hormones. What are the hormones? I'll be discussing here. One is HCG hormone, which is nothing but human uh, chorionic gonadotropin hormone. And the another one is HPG, that is human placental lactogen hormone. And another two hormones that produced by the placenta is estrogen and progesterone, and many hormones. So how many hormones you need to remember here? One is HCG hormone, then HPG hormone, estrogen, and progesterone. These are the hormones that you need to remember because these are the hormones that are being secreted or produced by placenta. So here placenta acts as what? Endocrine tissue. Okay. So what is the major function of the endocrine tissues? Producing hormones. So here placenta is acting as an hormone, and what hormones it is producing? One is HCG, then HPG, estrogen, and progesterone hormone is what it is producing. Okay. Later on, okay, in the later phase of the pregnancy, what happens? And another hormone which is called as relaxin hormone is also secreted, but it is not secreted by the placenta. Remember, very important thing. This is really very, very, very important thing that we need to remember that relaxin is an hormone which is produced in the late phase of the pregnancy, but it is not produced by the placenta. Rather, it has been secreted by what? It has been secreted by the ovary. This one thing we need to understand. Okay. So, fine. So, what happens is, uh, just a minute. This is one thing. So, relaxin hormone has been secreted by what? It has been secreted by the ovary. So, we need to remember that HCG, HPG, estrogen, and progesterone. Okay. So, these are the hormones, progesterone, and even these are the hormones. Okay. Level of other hormones, like we are talking. So, they are being produced in the woman itself. They have been produced in the woman itself during the pregnancy. So I'm talking another very important thing on these hormones is HCG, HPG, estrogen, progesterone that we are talking, right? Moreover, out of all these hormones, okay, HCG, HPG, and the relaxin hormones. These are the three hormones which are normally produced during the pregnancy itself in the woman. You're getting? So relaxin, these three are produced in the woman only during the pregnancy. Okay. So in additional, what happens during the pregnancy? What happens in additional? What I'm talking about the uh yeah. So this thing that is the estrogen hormones, then the progesterone hormone, right? And there are even certain hormones like cortisol. So that is cortisol hormone. Then we have cortisol, prolactin hormone, and the another one is thyroxine hormone, right? So these are the hormones that I'm talking. They will be more, their rate will be more in the blood during the pregnancy. Okay. So their increased level in the blood flow will be more during the pregnancy. Whereas this hormones that is I'm talking about HCG, HPG, and another one is the relaxin hormone that I'm talking. So they will only be secreted during the pregnancy. So these are the very important thing that we need to understand or we need to remember basically. Okay. Uh, why these hormones are very important? That is estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, and thyroxine hormones. Quantity is being increased, right, in the maternal blood during the pregnancy. Why it is very important? Because that increase in this hormone is very essential for the supply, essential for the supporting of the fetal. One is the supporting of the embryonic development, and also if there are any metabolic changes in the mother and to maintain the pregnancy. So for this all three reason, these hormones, right? So their flow or their quantity has to be more during the pregnancy in the blood. So what are the reasons why they are very essential? They have been essential because for the support for the embryonic development is the first reason, and metabolical changes in the mother is the second reason, and the to maintain the pregnancy is the third reason. Clear. So immediately what happens? After the implantation, we can see that inner cell mass they gets differentiated into outer layer, inner layer, and the middle layer, which is sooner means outer layer is actually called as ectoderm, inner layer is called as endoderm, and the middle, that is the mesoderm, sooner appears between the ectoderm and endoderm, right? So we know that the inner cell mass that I was been talking, right? So they contains what? This inner cell mass, they normally contains the stem cell. Okay. So the stem cells, which has the potency to give rise to all the tissues and organs. That means stem cells is the initial cell, the very first cell from where other cells are being developed. Okay. So that is majorly the stem cell. So that has a potency to give rise to all the kinds of tissues as well as hormones. So this is all initially about what? Pregnancy. So after pregnancy, now the pregnancy is done. So how exactly embryo will develop? So yeah. So one major question, let us see. Name the hormones not secreted by the placenta. I have discussed. I want you guys to answer. See, these are A, B, C, D, E options. So these are the hormones: estrogen, progesterone, relaxin, and inhibin. Then HCG, HPL. So these are the hormones. I want you to choose the correct answer from the given, option below. Option C. Why? Because relaxin hormone, it has been secreted by ovary. It is not secreted by the cool. So let us see. Yeah. So option B is the correct answer because the hormones are not secreted by placenta, are the relaxin and inhibin. So option B, that is C only, is the right answer. And here is the explanation why not the other options. Right. So I'll go to the next concept about the embryonic development. So what happens? What are the initial stages during the embryonic development? See, we know that the embryonic development lasts for like 9 months, right? So that means it takes 9 months to complete the entire development of an embryo from the child. So at the very first month of the pregnancy, if I need to talk, what we will be observing? We will be observing the heart formation. Heart formation, embryo's heart has been formed. So, and how we are going to recognize it? The first sign of the fetal growth or the embryon growth is noticed by actually listening the heartbeat, right? Through the help of the stethoscope. So in that way, we will be able to understand that, okay, embryo is developing, embryo is properly developing. So this is how the very first sign we will understand, or we are going to notice the embryonic growth by listening to the heart sound through the stethoscope. So at the end of the second month of the pregnancy, you will see the embryo, that is the fetus development. So what kind of development you will observe? Actually, the development of the limb as well as the digits development you will observe. So at the end of the 12th week, 12th week is actually called as first trimester, very important. Okay. So the 12th week of the pregnancy is actually called as the first trimester. And most of the major organs, what we are talking, like the production of limbs or development of the limb, then external genital organs, everything will be absorbed in the first trimester period. Then in the fifth month of the pregnancy, I'm talking about total 9 months. Okay. So on the fifth month of the pregnancy, what we are going to observe initially, we are going to observe the first momentum of the fetus and appearance of the hair on the head. So that these things will be absorbed in the fifth month of the pregnancy. And by the end of the 24th week, that is, see, if I say 12th week is actually considered as the first trimester, then the 24th week has been considered as second trimester, right? So by the end of the 24th week, which is actually called as the second trimester, the body is actually been covered by the fine hairs. Then eyelids are actually separated and eyelashes are being formed. You can see a development of the eyelashes. Eyelashes are completely formed. So by the end of the 9 month of the pregnancy, what happens is you will see that the fetus is fully developed, and it is ready for the delivery. And it is ready for the delivery. Once again, we'll just glance. As we know that the human pregnancy lasts for 9 months. So after the 1 month of the pregnancy, what happens? We will see the embryo has formed the heart. Then the first sign of the fetal growth or development is actually being noticed by the listening to the heart sound through the stethoscope. By the end of the 12th month, by the end of the second month, what happens? The fetus develop the limbs as well as the digit. By the end of the 12th month, 12th week, that is the first trimestral period, most of the major organs are produced, like limbs and external genital organs. Then in the fifth month, what happens? The first momentum of the fetus and appearance of the hair on head has been absorbed. By the end of the 24th week, which is actually called as the second trimester, the end of this second trimester, the body is covered by the fine hairs, eyelids are separated, and eyelashes are formed. So by the end of the 9 month of the pregnancy, the fetus is fully developed and ready for the delivery. So this is the major changes that we are going to see during the embryonic development. So this question was actually asked in 2024, like recent. Yeah. So after 12th week of the pregnancy, what you'll see, limbs and digits are developed. Okay. Or external genitalial organs are well developed. 12 weeks of pregnancy. That is the first trimester, right? So what exactly you're going to see? Yes, this one. Then after 24th week of pregnancy, you will actually see what? Yes, C1. Cool. So option will be C, right? Let's see. Yes, option C is the correct answer, because what happens is, see, you need to know them. 12 weeks of pregnancy that I'm talking. So what you like actually observe, the external genitalial organs are well developed. That's what I have discussed. Then after 12th week of pregnancy, what you'll actually see, that is the second trimester period. Eyelids are separated, eyelashes are formed. That is what we see, right? So then after 4 weeks of pregnancy, that is initially during the first month of the pregnancy, you'll see the heart is actually formed, right? So in the last, obviously, you'll see the heart is formed. And after 8 weeks of pregnancy, what you'll see, the limb and digits are formed. So obviously, the option will be C. Yeah, this is it about what do you say, that pregnancy and embryonic development. And if you have any queries, that's what I'm saying. You can join our Telegram channel, and we have every week we have test series, that is PYQ Brahmastra test series. You can even join to this Brahmastra test series, and you can also reach out in the social media to our Instagram channel, that is the Memoneet, and even you can reach out to my Instagram account, that is Rethik, and I'll be there to help you guys with the NEET preparation. Thank you.